Good evening and welcome back to the Rory Talks Football channel. It is deadline day. It is actually a busier day potentially for Arsenal than we anticipated. It's a Monday. We've got the Chelsea preview. We've got injury updates. We've got everything going on. It's good to see you. I hope you're all doing well. I hope you had a fantastic weekend. It is lovely to see so many of you here. Before we get into it, if I could please ask you to subscribe if you are new. We're on the way to 32,000 subscribers. If you could like the stream as well, those of you that are here early doors, if you could like the stream, I would be very, very grateful. But look, I mean, we've got links to Tonali today that came out of nowhere. Obviously, we're going to talk about that. Other potential cover for Mikel Merino. Will we enter the transfer market this evening? Who knows? And we will talk about the Chelsea game because, of course, that is tomorrow. The game's coming thick and fast. But it is good to see Cheyenne, IZK, Saka is God, Binyam, Fatty, Kian, Oslo Guna, Ethan Udall. Welcome, welcome. Ray's here. Peter Holmes, Napa Fire. Good to see you. And many, many more. There's loads of you here. You've been here for a while. Apologies that it is 15 minutes later than usual, but there is a bumper back post episode coming out this evening. So I was filming back post today, and I'm sure plenty of you can go and check that out. Obviously, it was a fantastic weekend from an Arsenal perspective, with City dropping points and Arsenal winning. Tonali is not going from Newcastle. No, look, I'm not gonna string you along for too long with this Tonali stuff right now. The Tonali stuff originally came out this morning. It was actually Sky Sports News that broke it. It came from Plettergol in Germany, basically saying that Arsenal had attempted to open talks over Sandro Tonali. And it sounded like the least realistic transfer rumour I think I've ever heard. Genuinely, the idea that we would move for Sandro Tonali on deadline day because of an injury to Mikel Merino, where Newcastle United are in all four competitions still as it stands. Tonali is one of their most important midfielders in a midfield where they have not a lot of depth, especially with Joel Linton and Bruno G currently out. Newcastle and Arsenal have a terrible relationship. It was so unrealistic. And it almost didn't make sense because for Sky to be the ones that went first with like an exclusive like that, you almost think, well, there has to be something here, right? It's so weird that you wouldn't make it up. And they hadn't made it up entirely. David Ornstein this evening saying this: Sandro Tonali was offered to Arsenal today by his agent. So Arsenal explored it, but no contact with Newcastle United was made, and nothing will happen this window. The 25-year-olds can't put the idea to Andrea Berta, and so Arsenal looked into it as they would with any other player of interest. A Newcastle exit is currently impossible, but it could be one for the summer. It could be one for the summer. I have long thought Norgard seems like a very temporary sort of thing. It would be an incredibly expensive signing to make in the summer, and you'd be bringing him in with no guarantee of minutes with Zubimendi and Rice. But the depth that would be, I mean, Tonali, Rice, Zubimendi would be pretty impressive. But yeah, it's an interesting one, and very interesting that it was his agent that actually offered him to Arsenal. And from a Newcastle's perspective, Newcastle fans are going to be losing their little minds, to be honest with you. Not little. That was derogatory. I apologise for that. They'll be losing their minds over that, because to find out that Tonali's agent has basically offered him a move today is pretty mental. There's actually a piece of breaking news. I was going to sort of talk about this later in the show, because it's a kind of smaller piece of information. Fabrizio Romano this morning had tweeted that Arsenal had opened discussions with Hearts on Scottish talent James Wilson, the 18-year-old striker already capped for Scotland's national team. An initial loan is being discussed club to club. Breaking from Fabrizio Romano, James Wilson to Tottenham. Here we go. Deal in place for the Scottish 18-year-old striker to join the Tottenham project. Arsenal were offering a trial, while Spurs offered a loan deal with option to buy. That is now being agreed with Hearts. Medical happening now with formal steps. That is another young striker that we have failed to get over the line. Don't know how to react to this on the fly because, to be honest with you, I'd not even had time to look into who James Wilson is. But he's going to Tottenham Hotspur, not Arsenal. That is coming from Fabrizio Romano. I don't know if any of you know much about him, but there you go. That is breaking news right here. James Wilson to Tottenham Hotspur, not to Arsenal. Couldn't care less. Yeah, fair. Fair enough. Look, it's not the end of the world. We've missed out on a £1 million striker, but interestingly, this is something that we're clearly working on. This came out actually yesterday evening. Ryan Taylor reporting it. As reported by Rovers Extra, Arsenal have seen a fresh £1 million bid rejected by Blackburn for Igor Tyjon. Anyone know how to pronounce that? Tyjon or Tyjon? Tyjon. Either way, Arsenal bid £1 million for him yesterday, and that has been rejected. He is a striker that we've been after for a while now. I think he's a striker, right? Yeah, he's a striker. So, look, the club are very, very clearly trying to sign a top promising young striker. That is clearly on the agenda. And we're clearly willing to spend money on it. But yeah, Hearts sub should be a trial in fairness. Yeah, I don't disagree. We've grown beyond young talent. We need world-class talent. No, but there's a balance. There's a balance, right? You can't always go out and buy world-class talent. Some of it you need to produce. You look at really where City have made a huge amount of profit over time is they go and buy a lot of these players. And a lot of them, they end up moving on either for free or for very little. But then occasionally they'll move on a player for like 20 million quid. And it's, even if they never get integrated into the main team. What happened to Boyardi? But I just don't think Boyardi was ever a January transfer, to be honest. We were also linked today to... we were linked to another Ayoub today, a different Ayoub. One from Arsenal today were linked by Ed Aarons to... Oh, no, that was a Boyardi. I thought we were linked to a centre-back today as well. I thought we were linked to a centre-back. Well, maybe I've just read it wrong. Maybe I've read it wrong. But yeah, I don't think Boyardi is going to happen today. Endrick won't want to go back to second fiddle for Mbappe, risk it for a chocolate biscuit. Maybe. I don't know. I'm not... To be honest, it's an interesting one. When you talk about Mikel Merino, like genuinely... What are you in the market for? Mikel Merino is likely going to be out for the rest of the season, right? What are you in the market for? A striker, a 10, an 8, a 6? Now without Merino, how do we replace Rice? Well, that for me is the biggest problem. That's where for me, like Merino's injury in and of itself is not the end of the world, right? Merino has been a good player for us this season. He's stepped up and in some important moments. It's not the end of the world to lose Mikel Merino. He's not a starting player. However, he has filled a lot of holes. And I would argue the biggest hole that he would need to fill potentially is actually Declan Rice. Even though I don't think he's anywhere near as good as Declan Rice in that position, and even though I think the drop-off from Declan Rice to Merino is big, we're at the point with Jesus and Havertz and Gyökeres, you don't need to rely on Mikel Merino as a striker at this point. So for me, it is a midfielder, and it would be probably a young midfielder. What about MLS? We'll talk about that. We're going to go through Mikel Arteta's press conference. Mikel Arteta has spoken today about Saka's injury, about Merino's injury, about the possible replacements. That includes Miles Lewis-Skelly. So we will talk about that. Norgard as the DM and Zubimendi or MLS as the 8. Yeah, I don't disagree. I also think Kai Havertz is an option as the 8. Ezra is still an option as the 8. So I do think there are options there, but it's Look, if you don't get a cluster of injuries in a similar position, it's fine. It's not ideal, but injuries happen, Don't actually know exactly what Mikel Merino did. It sounds like he's broken his foot or fractured his foot, but he didn't do that against Kyra. He definitely didn't do that against Kyra. So I don't know. I don't know what actually happened. But look, let's conference, because I actually think the press conference was quite interesting today. So this is, of course, ahead of the Chelsea game tomorrow, which almost become like second fiddle today. But he said this, on if there are any new injury concerns, he said, no, I think you're aware of all of them. Obviously, that is Saka and Merino. On Saka's issue before kickoff on Saturday, he said this. He said, we have to wait. Today he was better, but we have to wait and see how he responds and then make the decision. On if it's serious, he said, it doesn't look like it's something too serious. Whether he's going to be available for tomorrow or the weekend, we'll see. Who knows? Like, anyone that can translate Mikel Arteta, I definitely don't think he'll be available tomorrow. Like, realistically, that was something muscular. Still don't really know what it was in terms of whether it was like the top of his thigh or if it was more like his hip flexor. But you would imagine that he won't be available for tomorrow. And then, yeah, whether or not he's available for Sunderland at the weekend, we'll have to wait and see. What I hope this doesn't become is like Calafiori, where it's nothing too serious, but it ends up being like days and then a few more days and then a few more days. We'll wait and see. Obviously, look, the drop-off from Saka to Madueke is not horrendous. We can still win plenty of games with Madueke playing. Tony, thank you very, very much for the $5 Australian. He said, I really hope this actually pushes Ødegaard into a deeper 8 role. Let him control from deeper. He can flourish there. He does it now, and it would allow Eze in. Yeah, possibly at times. I mean, look, I think for a lot of games, I think Arteta is going to use Kai Havertz, to be honest with you, because when you use Kai Havertz, you can go long to Havertz and then win the second ball. I actually thought the way we did it against Leeds, where we knew it was going to be a big physical battle, especially in the opening half, and you use Havertz to deal with that, and then you bring Ødegaard on in the second half to control the game when Leeds are more tired. You know, I think it worked quite well. So, look, it's just good to have the options, to be honest with you. On if Merino will be back in training before the end of the season, he said this, and it's quite interesting, right? So he said, we hope so. I don't know. He needs to go through a procedure, which is not always positive. He's a big player for us, a player who has such versatility and capacity to compete in various positions, and that's a big blow. And this is where he said, is it a fracture? Yes. And then on if the World Cup is still a target for him, and this is where it gets a bit worrying, to be honest with you. He said, let's see, it's a very rare injury. Why are we getting these rare injuries? Like, we had Calafiori's injury that was weird. This one, it's a very rare injury. We have to wait and see once he has the surgery, how it reacts daily, monitor it throughout the week. I know Mikel is going to do absolutely everything possible to come back as quick as possible, but as well, you have to respect the healing process and the fact that obviously it's an injury that's quite rare. What the hell is it? Like, surely a broken foot is not that rare in football, right? So now I'm like, yeah, like, did he do it at home? Is that what he means in terms of it being like a rare? I don't know. I don't know. And then this is where we get into more of how he's going to deal with it. So he was asked if it's a pain for him, and he said, for the team as well, he's a big player, a very important player, and we're not going to have him until probably the end of the season. So that obviously doesn't sound great. If it changes our thinking before the window closes, he said this. And this is where you think, like, what does he know? So he says, of course, when you lose a big player like this in the squad with 4 months to go and all the competitions to play for, you need to look and we need to do everything that we possibly can to see if we have that player available. If we don't, we keep what we have. I mean, that seems quite bullish, no? That does seem quite bullish on having someone in the pipeline, at least. Like, if he knew we weren't going to sign anyone today and there was no hope of it whatsoever, surely he'd just be like, no, we're happy with what we've got. He was asked if we have to replace him with someone special. And he said, at this level, especially for 4 months, you have to be a player who has the capacity to adapt immediately and impact the team. And that's not easy. But if it was easy, we wouldn't be here. So we need to find solutions and try, which I completely agree with. It's incredibly difficult to go and find a player that's ready to walk into a Premier League contending squad. Like, that's not... You've got to ask yourself, if there was a player good enough to step into Mikel Merino's shoes right now, he'd probably be starting for the team he plays for and not available on loan. So it is very difficult. Did you see the Ruben Neves link? Yeah, I just don't think the Ruben Neves link's got any legs to it, to be honest. But it'd be an interesting one. Again, can a player who's currently playing in Saudi get up to speed with the Premier League immediately? Not so sure. And it said 600 people is crazy. People, please like the stream. Yeah, look, there's 650 of you here. So if you could like the stream and subscribe if you're not already, I would be massively grateful. It's free to do down below. On the depth of the squad that we have now, he said we have more depth now, but for 7 months we haven't had that depth because we've had players out like a lot of teams. So we know the demands and the standards we need, and we need players because we play every 2 or 3 days. Again, like saying that we need players is interesting. How pivotal the results were on the weekend. He said we can control what we can control, yada, yada, as normal. Paul Merson saying this was the weekend where we won the title. He said we need another 13 or 14 of those. I agree. I'm sick of this, by the way, especially people like Paul Merson doing it. Like, just shut up. Like, trying to write off this season as being done and dusted already. It was an excellent weekend for us. I made a video last night about how big the weekend was for us and the confidence it gave me. But we're 6 points ahead. Not being funny, right? We go away to the Etihad. They beat us there. That's only one other result where we lose. And I don't think it will happen because I do think we are a better team than Man City. I think Man City will drop points at Anfield this weekend. Oops. And so, yeah, like, don't get me wrong. I'm confident. But people saying that the league is done and wrapped up already, getting way too ahead of yourself. Way too ahead of yourself. I heard Sterling is free. Yeah, luckily we don't need any wingers, so I don't think Raheem Sterling's on the agenda. If we target doing a treble this season, he said, I think we go day by day, competition by competition, and tomorrow we have a really tough game against a very good Chelsea side. We have the home advantage, we have a good result, but we still have a lot to do, etc., etc. Of course, he's bang on. Again, he was asked another question about if the players believe the treble is still possible. He said there's no point talking about it. I agree. He said, if it's simple to handle the Merino news in the market today, he said, no, it's not. We had the news a few days ago, and obviously we're always active in every window, just in case something happens. We have the departure of Ethan Nwaneri as well to Marseille for the right reasons, I believe, for the club, player, and the team. Then the news of Mikel Merino was very unexpected, obviously, especially for such a long time. So we're actively looking at options, and we will continue to do that. My day will be the same as usual. I'll be busier, and if we have a final solution, I will try and do it. And if we don't, we will continue in the manner that we are now. Again, like, he's not dampening any rumors of potentially signing someone here. That's the feeling that I'm getting. Now, I mean, what have we got? Like 5 hours to go in the transfer window? It's looking unlikely that something's going to happen, but it's not completely off the cards. He was asked about Eze, if magic moments are enough for Eze or if he has to impact the game more consistently. And he said yes. And this is interesting, probably. He said, yes, you have to impact the game consistently throughout the 96 minutes at this level. Any phase, any action is the most important action. And on top of that, you have to be able to add other values. In his case, he is very, very good and unique at creating those magic moments. So that is the demand of each player. So basically, yeah, Eze needs to do more, is what he's saying. And do you know what? Don't get me wrong, I think he needs to give Eze more opportunities, but I can also see what he's saying. There are games, and he was like this at Crystal Palace, but there are games where Eze does drift through them without having much of an impact. And it's not just him. There are types of players that are like that. Another example is Semenyo at City. Like, second half yesterday was crap, to be honest with you. And I like Semenyo. I rate Semenyo. But, yeah. Other than that, he was asked if Miles Lewis-Skelly could play more in midfield with Merino out, and he said yes, Miles has the qualities to play in different positions. He's played as a fullback, as a six, or as an attacking midfielder. So yes, that is an option that we have in this squad. And then he was asked why he's not been used more in midfield. He said, because I believe that he has the best chance to break into the first team playing in that position, left back, because I think he has unique qualities that we didn't have in the squad to accommodate that and to give him the chance to play for us. I would now say, with Calafiori and Hincapié there, Miles Lewis-Skelly's best chance to break through now is in midfield, especially with Mikel Merino out. So for me, Miles Lewis-Skelly is definitely an option that we could and should be looking at if we can't make a signing. Zach, thank you very, very much for the $5. Slightly off topic, what's your ideal summer window? Mine would be Alvarez, Yildiz, Buardi. Plus, Tonali is a player I've always liked. Yeah, look, it's difficult. It's difficult to even look ahead at the summer window. For me, number one is Kenan Yildiz. Number one is Kenan Yildiz. I would, and look, I rate them. I love them. I'm happy with what they've done. But for me, Jesus, Martinelli, Leandro Trossard, they could all leave the club this summer, and I would be like, fair enough. If the ceiling gets raised by the likes of Kenan Yildiz, there are 3 attacking players there that if they leave, I'm like, fair enough. And Kenan Yildiz would be top of the list. So that's the one. In terms of like the wider transfer market and the wider transfer window, I think, to be honest, we've got a busy stream today, so that's one for a different time. But Zach, I appreciate the $5 big time. Thank you very, very much. HOA bomber needed right now. Yeah, Hand of Arsenal saying nothing, which, but the thing is, he never will. He's not going to tease us with something unless it's actually going to happen. So, yeah, there you go. That's pretty much the rest of it. He was asked on if he thinks about what happened at the end of last January. He said, yeah, I think it's a very different one as well. And I know what happened very, very well. I know the details of that, so that was totally different to this one. I mean, what happened at the end of last January was that we capitulated. Kai Havertz ripped his hamstring 2 days after the window closed, and it was a disaster. So that probably has left a mark on Arteta, you'd have thought. If he's relaxed about the situation, he said, I wouldn't say relaxed. I think we're on it, and it's our responsibility when we're playing for what we're playing for to give ourselves the best opportunity and chance to look at the market. Every option, evaluate them, and then make a decision whether we do something if it's possible. Again, like every single message, and that's basically the end of the press conference. Every single message I've got from Mikel Arteta in that press conference is conversations at the very least are happening. At the very least, conversations are happening. Because if he knew that they weren't, I think he'd have just come out and said, I'm happy with the squad. You know, what's happened to Merino has happened, but we're not going to rush into the market and make a panic signing. Like, that would be the brief. Do you know what I mean? That would be the brief if nothing was going to happen. It ends at 7 p.m. Does it? Wait, does it close at 7 p.m.? Does it close at 7 p.m.? Oh yeah, 7 p.m. Well, well then I don't think anything is going to happen then, surely. That's insane. I don't think anything is going to happen. I thought it was 11 p.m. About 100 people said it. My bad. I wasn't reading the chat. Sorry, I was reading the press conference. I wasn't reading the chat. I'm sorry. Abdi, thank you very, very much for the $1.99. Says, do you think tickets will be available for the EFL Cup? Yes. Yeah, I would check the exchange. Keep checking the exchange for sure. I actually got 2 tickets in the ballot. Crazy. I got 2 tickets in the ballot for it. So, no, it's not 6 p.m. UK time. It's 7 p.m. UK time. Because Sky have posted that. It's 7 p.m. UK time. It's 7 p.m. UK time. But that's posted on Sky. Sky wouldn't post the time in European time. Can we not get an extension? Yeah, there are ways that you can get extensions on it, but only if you really need to push it through. Would you ever make videos like the different knock? Probably not, to be honest. I don't have the talent or ability or money to pay someone to make them for me. Alex is very, very good at what he does. I prefer my style that works for me is just sit and talk. Like when I do the match reaction video, it's literally I sit down, I talk for 15 minutes-ish. That's the video. I think that just suits me more. It's kind of lazy, but also I wouldn't enjoy doing it if I had to faff around doing all the editing and stuff because I'm not good at it and I don't find it fun. In this 1 hour, who would you ideally sign? Kenan Yildiz. Better not sign Ox. Well, this is one of the other options, right? So if you want to talk about the options that we've got in the club, right? What are the internal solutions? By the way, if you ever work in any company ever, the phrase internal solutions is what they absolutely love. Internal solutions for Merino. Miles Lewis-Skelly, number 1. That for me is number 1 option. You're horrific with tech, just admit it. Oh, I am. I am horrific with tech. I hate it. I hate technology. Yeah, Miles Lewis-Skelly's number 1 option. Number 2 is Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. 32-year-old Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain is still training with Arsenal. He's been training with us for quite a while now. Theoretically, even after the window closes, we could sign him as a free agent. I don't see it happening. I don't see it working. I don't think Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain could walk or play in this Arsenal team. There is a level, like a very, very baseline level that you need to be able to play at for Arsenal, especially in midfield. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain at 32 years old doesn't have that. So yeah, it's not going to be Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. Third option, and one that has been spoken about, Miguel Delaney said this today, is Max Dowman, which is an incredibly interesting one. It is, for me, ambitious at the least. That is ultimately a just turned 16-year-old that you're asking to fill in for Mikel Merino. What I think could be the solution more so is that Dowman is an option off the right wing. Maybe Saka plays more centrally when he's back. But ultimately, I think expecting Max Dowman to fill in midfield in any games this season, especially off the back of a heavy contact injury, like he's just missed the best part of 2 months with a pretty bad ankle injury that came from contact. I think sticking him in midfield would be... Listen, I know how highly the club and Arteta rate him. Arteta the other day, like, effectively compared him to Lionel Messi, right? Which was pretty insane. But, yeah, I just don't see that being the solution. I think it's Miles Lewis-Skelly. Miles Lewis-Skelly may not have the ceiling that Max Dowman has in terms of ability, but he's got, the physical maturity. He's got the experience in the team. He will be the number one internal option, as far as I'm concerned. Abdi, thank you very, very much for the $4.99. Didn't enter the ballots. Can I DM you to get one ticket? Unfortunately, I only have 2 tickets, and both, I'm taking one of them, and a good friend of mine has the other one. So, yeah, unfortunately I can't, and because I've got tickets, I can't use the ticket exchange either. But thank you for the $4.99, and I hope you're able to find a way of getting a ticket. It may well be. I mean, I don't know how active the ticket exchange is for this game. It may well be that if there are lots of tickets available, they open it up to everyone, even people that didn't enter the ballot. But yeah, apologies that I can't help you with that one, and thank you very much for the $4.99. Which would you prefer, Invincible Prem or Invincible Champions League? Feel like the latter might be on this year. Champions League. The Invincible part of it, we've done Invincible Premier League, been there, done that, got the gold trophy. Invincible Champions League, there's every chance if you win the Champions League, you're going to do it invincible anyway, because it's a knockout competition. Just give me a Champions League. Just give me a Champions League. That for me is if I had to pick between them. Is the stream on until the deadline? The stream is not on until the deadline. If we sign anyone after the stream ends, I will immediately go live again. I will immediately go live if it turns out we're going to sign someone. But no, we won't be live until the deadline. I've got a lot of videos to make on TikTok and stuff. We're looking for someone who replaces Rice, not Merino, by the way. Effectively, yeah. I don't disagree. But you're not going to find someone on deadline day in January that can replace Rice. That's the issue, right? There's literally not going to be a player in world football that you can be like, right, we'll bring him in either on loan or somehow buy them that can compete with Declan Rice. Did you see Rosinha laugh when he saw that we haven't won in 5 years? Now I won't like him. I didn't see that, no. What time's the deadline? The deadline is in 1 hour and 15 minutes. It's at 7 p.m. UK time, 1 hour and 15 minutes. What's the Santi Cazorla? I keep seeing the name Santi Cazorla. Bring back Santi Cazorla. Oh, people think that's an option. Okay. Santi Cazorla is another option. There you go. Loan Goretzka. I don't think Goretzka's good enough to walk into this to support this team. I think people remember Goretzka post-COVID. He's not that player anymore. He looks really off it, even at Bayern. And if you look off it at Bayern in that league right now, you ain't gonna do it in the Premier League. Jorginho, honestly, the problem is he's playing, so that's the issue with him. Xhaka, well, see, Xhaka's obviously not going to make a move. Like, I don't think we're going to do it. I don't think we're going to do anything, to be honest with you. But those are just the internal solutions. Seb complained, and that's Spurs. What do you mean? I don't know what you mean. I used to respect Rodri during his Ballon d'Or season, but the nonsense he spoke was not really professional. It was embarrassing. Rodri's interview went beyond not being professional into the realms of being completely embarrassing. For a player to come out and directly accuse the referees of making decisions against Man City because they don't want Man City to win, that's far beyond anything anyone at Arsenal has ever said. It's embarrassing. What did Rodri say? Rodri said that he thinks the referees are showing that they don't want Man City to win another league title. He said he thinks that because Man City have won so many league titles, they don't want them to win another one. And that's why they're making these decisions. Surely he'll receive some sort of ban. I think he will, yeah. I think he'll receive a ban. Because, if you can compare what they went after Arteta for, where Arteta spoke about it being a disgrace, compare that to what Rodri said. What Rodri said was far more flagrant in terms of effectively accusing referees of manipulating the results. You're not going to get away with that. Thorger, thank you very, very much for becoming a new member of the channel. The first new member of the day. Thank you very much for that. The first new member of February, actually, I believe. Welcome to the Rory Talks Football membership club. Enjoy the emojis that you have. 770 viewers, by the way. Is that a record? No, in the summer we hit 1,000. In the summer we hit 1,000 during the transfer window when we were signing Gyökeres and stuff. But it is the most we have had in a long, long time. So thank you very much. If you are new to the channel, please do subscribe. Please do like the stream whilst you're here. I would be very, very grateful. Chelsea preview time. Yeah, look, we need to get into the Chelsea preview as well. So on that note, let me just bring this up very quickly. Obviously, we'll get the old trusty FOTMob up. In terms of the lineups, now Arsenal, this is the predicted lineup: Raya, Timber, Saliba, Gabriel, Hincapié, Zubimendi, Rice, Havertz, Madueke, Trossard, and Victor Gyökeres. Gabriel, thank you very, very much for becoming a new member as well. Like buses, another one. Gabriel, I appreciate that. As always, by the way, all of the membership money goes back into this channel. It allows me to continue doing it. So I do massively appreciate that. And again, enjoy your emojis, Gabriel. That's our last lineup. Yeah, it is our last lineup. That's basically what FOTMob has started doing. For me, this is very similar to what I think the lineup will actually be. I think Calafiori will start at left back instead of Hincapié. I think this will be the midfield. And the only other difference I think there might be is Martinelli instead of Leandro Trossard. And the reason I think that is we have the lead, right? So if you picture this game as if we have the lead in a game, in a normal 90-minute game, Chelsea are going to... No, not... If Kepa's in goal, I'm just going to get annoyed. Like, you know how I feel about it. Don't put Kepa in goal. Don't put Kepa in goal, please. I would go Martinelli. Chelsea are going to have to attack us. The onus is on Chelsea to attack us. Martinelli on the break, I think, is a player that we would benefit from. I think Ødegaard starts ahead of Havertz. I think now Havertz is fit. Arteta loves him. And again, in a game where we don't need to win, the ability to go long to Havertz is going to be crucial. To be honest, if you think Ødegaard's going to start, I think it's more likely that Ødegaard starts with Havertz up front and Gyökeres on the bench rather than Ødegaard and Gyökeres. I think Havertz starts the game. Is Saka available? If Saka's available, he should play. I'm 99% sure Saka won't be available. That would be a 3-day turnaround for a muscular injury. Like, that's not going to happen. For Chelsea, they're going to go full strength. That was reported today. They're going to go full strength. I would imagine that means Sanchez, Reece James, Fofana, Chalobah, Cucurella, Caicedo, Enzo, Cole Palmer. I think Gitten's got injured, so it's probably like Neto, Garnacho. Esteval's on compassionate leave. I don't think Esteval's going to be able to play either. And then João Pedro up front. I think that's probably what it will be. The only question mark I've got is if Cole Palmer can even play. That's the only thing I would say. Cole Palmer has not been able to string 2 games together this season because of his injury. And he played 90 minutes against West Ham. So I do actually wonder if Palmer will play. Havertz needs to be managed. He won't start. Yeah, but Havertz only played... how many minutes did Havertz play? 60 minutes against Leeds. I think that is the management. He's done 45 against Kairat, 60 against Leeds. I think he'll be all right. Fabrizio, is it another Fabrizio bomber, or is it the one... I did read out the Fabrizio tweet at the start of the show about James Wilson. Is that what it is again? What's this? Oh, no, that's Sassuolo. That's got nothing to do with it. Yeah, no, I don't think there's been another one. Yeah, we've done the James Wilson to Tottenham. Arsenal were interested, but he's gone to Tottenham. Sounds like we wanted him to do a trial, and Tottenham just didn't. Havertz only starts. He might do 75 minutes to push. Yeah. But for me, we're at this point now where we need to win the game. We don't. Well, literally, we don't need to win the game, but we need to go through. This is the sort of situation now where you are 2 games away from a trophy. In the first of those 2 games, you already have a 1-goal lead. And the way that we can kick on with a Carabao Cup win against Man City probably in the final, like, I just feel like we've got the best squad to do it. There are not going to be, and this is a reality, right? I have always said with the Carabao Cup, could take it or leave it, don't really care, always prioritize every other competition, etc. Even in the first leg at Chelsea, I would have rotated more than we did, personally. I knew Arteta wouldn't, but I would have rotated more. But now we're here, right? How many opportunities in the future, in future years, how many times are we going to be in a position where we are the strongest team with the strongest depth going into all 4 competitions in February? Because we are stronger than Man City, factually, right? They're the only team that can stop us in the Carabao Cup other than Chelsea. FA Cup, same thing. Champions League, you're probably looking at a Bayern. We've already shown that we can beat them this season. Premier League. There are not going to be, even next season, right? Even if we build on this team next season, I think Liverpool will be back. You know, they've signed Jeremy Jacquet yesterday. I'm looking at Ekitike Wirtz. They're getting better. They will be back. City at some point will be back. They will spend enough money. They will be back. I think the opportunity we have this season to make it a, truly special season, I think it is there. Did you see the reporter that asked Pep if he was going to stop focusing on the Prem? I didn't. What was the answer? What was the answer from Pep? He probably didn't like that, to be honest. Tonali's agent has said he's not been in touch with Arsenal. Well, yeah, obviously he's going to say that now. He's been burned. Someone burned Tonali's agent because Sky knew about it this morning, right? There's no way, right? And bear in mind, it would never have come from Newcastle. There is no way on planet Earth that Newcastle would have offered. Newcastle hate us, right? If they could have offered Tonali to literally anyone other than us, they would have done it. So ultimately, it's not going to have come from Newcastle. It's not going to have randomly come from Arsenal. Arsenal would not have gone to Newcastle without any encouragement and gone, hello, lads, fancy selling us Tonali? No, it's going to have come from his agent. There's no one else it can possibly have come from. And someone close to his agent has clearly leaked it. Because the fact that it came from Sky this morning and then it's come from Ornstein this evening, it obviously has happened. Why do Newcastle hate us? Various reasons. Mainly behind the scenes, Arsenal have always led the way and really been quite aggressive on the state ownership and FFP. So with Man City and with Newcastle, it was often Arsenal that were kind of leading the charge against state ownership and holding them to account on FFP. So it's a boardroom level that they hate us. Wilsey, over 800 watching. Let's get the likes up for Rory and subscribe if you haven't. I agree, Wilsey. Thank you very much. Ainsley Maitland-Niles to Arsenal. Who says no? I say no. By the way, did you see Sverre Nipan's gone back to Man City? So Sverre Nipan spent, like a year deciding what would be the best option for his career. Somehow he eventually landed on the fact that Man City would be the best option for his career. They then sent him out alone to Middlesbrough, where he's basically not played, and now they've recalled him from loan, and supposedly they're actually going to use him. So, yeah. Don't think he made the right decision. Did you see Madueke's corner has now been awarded to him as a goal? Good, rightly so. It should always be. How it was not given to him as his goal in the first place, I don't know. He put the ball in, it was going in, and the keeper made a mistake. If that happened, like if it was a shot from outside the box and it was going in and the keeper parried it into his own net, it would be a goal. Nipan is garbage, told you all. I mean, to be honest, I think he was a promising talent, but I've not seen him play since he moved. So, are we signing any midfielder? No, I don't think so. I think it's highly unlikely now. There's an hour to go. Arteta's press conference honestly gave a lot of hope that we were going to sign someone, or that at least someone was on the cards. But with an hour to go, I mean, it would be pretty mental. It would be pretty mental if we did. When did we hit 31k? Over the weekend. The channel is flying. The channel is at the start of this year, we spoke about hitting 50k this year almost as a joke. We hit 25k. We hit 25k. Did we hit 25k this year? I think we did. I think we hit 25k this year. And I joked about hitting 50k this year. But we're up to 31.5k already. So we're flying. We are flying. Rossini's planning to go full strength. Yeah, both teams are going to go full strength. Both teams are going to... It's a one-off game to reach a final. Both teams are going to go full strength. 25k was about January 10th. Yeah, look at that. Look at that. We are flying. It's the shorts. Yeah, it is the shorts, to be fair. But even last night's video did well compared to most. So I appreciate it. I appreciate the support on the channel. Honestly, it's massive. Rodri trying to frame it as the league favours us, as if everyone isn't our enemy, plus we're liked by other clubs and leagues outside of England. Yeah, it's the most insane narrative you could imagine. It's like suggesting as a Man City player that you're reffed unfairly is insane. Absolutely insane. I watched that vid in my pocket in Sainsbury's. That's what we love to see. I appreciate it. Would you consider going on the Loose Cannons pod if I was ever invited on? Yeah, of course. Of course. 1 hour to go in the window. Yeah. I don't think we're going to do anything. If we do something, I will immediately go live. But for now, it is time for the quiz. It is time for the quiz. Actually, before that, Chelsea prediction. Get your Chelsea predictions in the chat for tomorrow. I am going for 1-1. I am going for a 1-1 draw, which would mean Arsenal go through for 5-4. No. I can't do the maths. I'm going for a 1-1 draw. When will the back post pod be out? Soon. It was a longer pod, so it's taken a while to edit, I think. But the podcast will be out very soon. As always, back post on YouTube, on Spotify, all of that good stuff. The way it works, the full podcast comes out on Spotify and Apple and all of that stuff, and then it's broken down into segments for YouTube. So today's segment on YouTube will obviously be Arsenal, City, Villa, title race, all that good stuff. There we go. Loads of predictions. 4-3, 4-3. I assume people are talking about aggregate 4-3 there, yeah. 2-1, 2-1 win, 2-1 win, 2-2, 2-2, 2-2, 2-0, 2-0. Yeah, no one's predicting that we're going to lose. So you'll have to see that. You'll have to see that. Nid also has put the link for the back post in the chat. But look, today's quiz question is this. As always, get your fingers on your keyboards. First person to get it right in the chat wins the immense pride and respect of the Rory Talks Football community. I think this is a fun question. I was happy with myself when I made this question. And it is this. Who is Arsenal's second most expensive January signing? Who is Arsenal's second most expensive January signing? I'll give you a clue. Our most expensive January signing was Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. Who is our second most expensive January signing? Dum 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 dum. I was happy with this question. I thought it was good. I thought it was a good question. Not Henry. Not Trossard, not Martinelli, not Cazorla, not Saka, not Denis Suarez. Saka. Not Aubameyang. Obviously, Aubameyang was number one. Lots of people putting Trossard. It's not Trossard. It's not Ozil. It's not Ozil. It wasn't Arshavin. It wasn't Arshavin. Wasn't Kivior. There we go. Gus. It was indeed Henrik Mkhitaryan. Gus is correct. Gus got it first. It is Henrik Mkhitaryan. Second was... no one got it for a while after that, to be honest with you. Diego was second, or Diego Bone was second. 16 Rams was third. Gabriel was fourth. And RH31 was fifth. There you go. There you go. It was indeed Henrik Mkhitaryan. Congratulations to Gus. VAR check. Someone defo got it before. They didn't. They didn't get it before, I promise you. I said Mickey, that counts. Yeah, you were second. You were second with Mickey. VAR, goal given. Goal given. He was a straight swap deal, wasn't he? No, not technically. They were two different transactions. So Mkhitaryan cost us like 34 million euros. But they were two different transactions. So technically it was Zubimendi. Technically it was not Zubimendi. The word technically there is literally, technically, Zubimendi was a summer signing. But there you go. Look, that is going to be the end of the stream. Like I said, I will be back live if there is any major transfer movement from Arsenal. If not, I won't be live tomorrow. Obviously, I'll be at the Arsenal-Chelsea game tomorrow evening. There will be a video reaction out later tomorrow night, probably for a lot of you in the morning afterwards, reacting to tomorrow's game. And then it will be business as usual for the rest of the week. I appreciate you all for watching. It's been a hell of a stream. 800 of you here at one point, which was absolutely massive. Anyone that's liked, subscribed, all of that good stuff, I appreciate it. And other than that, I will catch you all on the next one. Until then, goodbye.